This is Bob Bakert with Jazz Guitar Today. We're here with Joe Bonamassa. And we were just talking about how I met him at the NAMM show when he was very young. It was, I knew back then that he was going to be something pretty special, and obviously he is. So, Joe, the reason we're talking to you today is because you've got a brand new guitar from Epiphone out, the 62 reissue from your guitar that you used on your very first solo record. And we got a chance to get our hands on it. It's a really, really nice guitar. Our friend, Brad Jetter, who I think you've met Brad in the past with Drew Stawin, who has Jetter Gear pedals, does the reviews and does the photography for us. And, you know, his review is stellar. So it's really, you know, really nice.
You know, this is our 10th Epiphone model. We started off with a gold top, which was a reaction to, it was a company in the UK that were doing knockoff versions of my interpretation of a Les Paul. And they were selling a bunch of them. And I bought one when I was over there, and I brought it back to Jim Rosenberg at Epiphone. I said, hey, proof of concept, right? Let's make a cheaper one. And, so we started with a gold top Les Paul, and then we did a couple of colors. We added a 5-speed transmission or a big speed. And this is our 10th model. Once they all pretty much sell, they've all sold through. So this will be our 15th, it'll be 15,000 Epiphone model guitars that we've built and sold throughout the last decade. So, I mean, it's very cool. And the new, the 62 reissue 335 is just, it's a facsimile or copy of my original 62 335 that I used in my first solo album and in my formative years. And I sold to move to Los Angeles. I had it in New York, and I was doing gigs, doing everything from jingles to pickup gigs and my own gigs. And I sold it to move to Los Angeles because it had one patent applied for pickup, and it had one, that was the money back in 25, you know, that was the money. You got a PAF in it?
Absolutely.
So I ended up getting, I don't know, $4,000 for it. And that paid a lot of bills back in those days. I never thought I'd see it again. It just went away. And 2020 comes along, everybody's just sitting around, and a friend of mine, Jason, who works for Bob Dylan up in Green Bay, he goes, hey, are you interested in your old 335? And at this point, I'm like one of the biggest guitar collectors in the world, and I'm like, well, what 335? You know, I go from having 1 to 50 of them, and he sends me a picture, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the original one. So the guy in Green Bay was nice enough to sell it back to me for exactly what he paid for it, because it had swapped hands a few times and the price had gone up. And he goes, this is what I paid so-and-so for it. It was a dealer. And I said, I'll buy out, no problem. And then the guitar gets shipped to me in California, and FedEx loses it. They deliver it to the wrong house. So my friend and I, Rick, who helps me with all things with the collection. Rick is a great friend, and he also, you know, works for us. And we're in Laurel Canyon, literally trespassing, and every house within, I don't know, a 3 or 4 block area in the canyon. And we finally found it in somebody else's backyard. It was a guitar box. They just randomly dropped it off and said it was delivered. It would spend 3 days hunting this thing down. Finally get it. The box is, unbox it. There it is. And it was right around the same time that Epiphone was calling me and saying, hey, what do you want to do this year for the model? And I said, you know what? This thing has had quite a journey. Let's do this. So this is how we picked that model.
Well, you know, it's crazy. First of all, the guy that had the guitar, were they aware of the provenance of it? Were they aware that it was your guitar from your first record?
Yeah, well, they're aware it was my guitar at some point. And the guy kept the original strings on it. He kept the original strings that I had on it. You know, at that point, don't, you know, at that stage I was using Diodarios, which were and I knew they were my strings because they had the multicolor
Right.
little ends. I use I've since switched over. I've been using Ernie Balls for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew, I was like, okay, this is definitely, he didn't do anything to it. And they had 11s on it, you know, and I'm like, strings are old, you know, but the thing was still in tune. And it was like seeing an old friend. I mean, like, you know, it's weird because of all the great guitars that I have, I mean, when we go out on the road, there's just a rack of guitars. They're beautiful. They're all vintage. It's worth a fortune.
Right.
And I won't bring this one out because I'm afraid of losing it again. So it's really a sentimental attachment to it, you know? And because I was forced to sell it at one point, and then it came back to me, albeit in a bit of a struggle, but it did come back to me. And so that guitar is safe in back in California at the moment, and it comes out in special occasions.
So you got the guitar back, and you guys have done a great job with this thing. I mean, it's I got a chance to play it. I got one at the house, and you know, everything is right about it. I mean, first of all, I love it that it's got great parts. It's got CTS, Switchcraft, and Mallory. It's got the, you know, burst buckers. The guitar sounds real good plugged in. It's got a, you know, everything seems really, really right about it. It's a hell of a value for $12.99.
It's a hell of a value.
Yeah, it's a hell of a value.
And you know, I mean, historically, our Epiphones have been under $1,000 or just right at $1,000,
right?
$1 under $9.99. Yeah. Throughout all of this, things have gone up. This is the most expensive one we've done at $12.99 because at the end of the day, it's not because, well, our price is different now. It's gone up. I mean, like the price to make these things has gone up almost $300.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's not Gibson's fault. It's not my fault. It's blame it on the world.
It's the world.
And so, you know, I was very much, you know, in tune with that, going, hey, listen, so we have to make sure whatever, if the price is going to be, now the new baseline is going to be almost $300 more. Let's make sure that what they're getting is at least $300 more in value.
Yeah.
So yeah, the real parts, it's, you know, I mean, I'm one of those things where when I get these Epiphones, I get 5 free ones. And generally what I do is, you know, I send them out to my friends, you know, like, you know, my friend Jimmy Vivino goes, hey man, I really want to check one out. I go, Merry Christmas. You know, and everybody's come back and said, like, this thing you can just tune up and go. You know what I mean? It's gig ready.
It showed up at my house in tune. Not only was it in tune, it was set up the way I would set up my guitar, which has never happened. It was ready to go.
And you know, you could, you know, I mean, the thing is, it's like with any guitar, you know, it's like people will, you know, you read online reviews. Well, the guitar wasn't set up. It's like, well, it wasn't set up for you, but a little bit of an adjustment, and you're ready to go.
It was perfect. And
you know, it's a testament to the quality control, the QC over at Epiphone. I will say this, from everything we've done, from the Flying V's to the Firebird ones to the Les Pauls. We did a kind of a BB looking model. We did a 355 with a 5-speed, and every single one of them. The difference between the prototype that I approve and the one that you got in the mail is 0. I mean, it is absolutely the same guitar. Epiphone has this unique ability to make the same guitar 1,500 times in a row. I don't know how they do it. They match the weight, they match the spec finish. Maybe I don't want to know how they do it.
You are going out on tour.
Yeah.
Next month for like ever.
Next week. Yeah.
Next
week.
Start on
Tuesday. Yeah. We start on Tuesday.
For like ever. You're going to be gone. I mean, I know you got a couple of breaks in there, but I mean, I don't know how many dates it is, but it's a lot of dates. Now, what band will that be with? Is that going to be your big band and all that? What are you going to be doing?
7-piece. It's Reese Winans, as always, on keyboards. Legendary Stevie Ray Vaughan, Delbert McClinton, 3.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
and Calvin Turner on bass, who's an amazing bass player from Dallas, Texas. One of the best musicians you'll ever meet, like across the board, from horn
Right.
charts to strings, bass, guitar, singing, vocals, arrangement, production. He's a quadruple, quintuple threat. Lamar Carter on drums, who's played with everyone from Larry Carlton to Demi Lovato. One of the best cats on the scene. Just the two, Calvin and Lamar, just make such a beautiful racket and such a solid groove.
Yeah.
And services all the songs from every record, from the blues stuff to the heavy rock stuff. It's hard because I go through many styles in an evening. Josh Smith on guitar, you may know him.
Yep.
Wonderful guitar player. I think one of the best of the generation. Better than I am, by far. Jade McRae on vocals, who sings with Jimmy Barnes and is a wonderful solo artist in her own right. And Danny D'Andrea, also a wonderful solo artist and singer. And I'm lucky enough to have two of my favorite singers behind me, and they're tolerating my sharp and flat notes, which is great. They've been doing it for 7 or 8 years, and it's I'm very lucky. So that's the band. Everybody gets along. Everybody likes each other, which is good. And remember, a tour bus is 330 square feet. Small.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of close living, that's for sure. So
yeah,
that's important. Well, anyway, I don't want to keep it too long. I know your time is valuable and precious, and I appreciate you talking to us today. Is there anything that you would like to add to this before we say goodbye?
No, thanks for talking about the Epiphone. It's like I said, it's our 10th one, and we're always proud of the work we do at Epiphone because over the last decade, I've really concentrated on doing an affordable version of the guitars. It's one thing to build a $10,000 custom shop one that 100 people can afford. I'd rather see 1,500 people have an affordable one that they can just go gig with and not have to worry about putting a scratch on.
Well, here's the thing that I think this for me, it kind of goes without saying, but it needs to be said. And that is that, so you're a world-class player, if you will. I mean, people know you're all those things. You're also a world-class collector. And your brand was one of quality. I mean, when someone goes to a Joe Bonamassa show, they know they're going to see a quality show. I mean, you got a quality brand. And so for you to put your name on something, it's going to be right. It's going to be good. It's going to be good value. It's going to be a great thing. And, I think it's really, really cool that you do that. And a lot of people can't afford $10,000, for a guitar. But they want that vibe, they want that feeling and all that thing. And you're supplying that to them. And I think that's tremendous. I think it's great for Epiphone / Gibson brands to be, partnering up with you. And I think the whole thing is freaking cool. Yeah. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again about some other projects down the road, man. Anytime. Thanks. Good to see you again. It's good. We'll try to make it less than 30 years next time, but okay. Right. So this is Bob Bakert with Joe Bonamassa. I want to thank you very much. I want to thank Epiphone for putting this all together. And I'll catch you later down the road. Good luck with your tour. Good luck with everything. See you, Joe. Thanks, Bob. I'll see you soon. All right. Cheers. Bye now.